And welcome to everyone who is here joining us in the present moment. I am Bante Warapano, and this is the Monk Life community here in our Discord server. We have some people joining live, kind of like a live Zoom call. And then we also have people who are joining live through YouTube. And there will also be some people who are watching this later to kind of join and practice together with us. So the title of this event today is Zen and Adversity, Finding Freedom in the Midst of Difficulty and Confusion. And so we're going to be looking at some of these topics, kind of supported by a book that I've been reading called Zen Under the Gun. And this has basically a compilation of teachings from different Zen masters, different teachers in a certain period of time of unrest and difficulty and war in ancient China. So we're going to look through some of these verses together, maybe have some space to discuss them. We're going to practice meditation together. So sitting, breathing, letting go, being here in the present moment. And we're going to do that as a community. So we have the support of all of the other practitioners who are gathering together with us in the present moment to practice with us. And we're also going to do that with the support of the Dharma. So deep Zen teachings, very high level teachings about the nature of our mind, the nature of truth. And we're also going to be meditating together. So we collect our mind, we focus our mind, we release, relax, refresh, and restart, and really come home to the present moment. So that's what's on the menu for today. That's what we're going to be doing and practicing. We can take a few moments to make sure that everybody has time to join in. We said we were going to start at 9, so we have 3 more minutes or so before that 9 o'clock start time. But usually for these kinds of events, meditation focused, Buddhist focused events like this, you want to get there, 5 minutes early. I actually had a Zen teacher when I was in my first monastery I was living at. And he would say that being on time is being 5 minutes early. So I try to keep that in mind when I really want to be on time somewhere. And it's good advice. But whenever you show up, that's being on time as well. Okay, so if you're watching through YouTube, go ahead and say hello. Go ahead and say, hey, I'm here. I'm watching live. I'm going to participate. And of course, here in Discord, we can see everybody: Steve, SMG, Courtney, Donald. Nice to have you here, Donald. Everyone who's here. And please feel invited to share your camera if you can, so we can really feel that intimacy and that aliveness of not just knowing that other people are here, but really experiencing. So it's a way that you can actually practice generosity to share your camera and to share your physical presence here as well. If you can, if you can't, it's not a problem. No need to worry about it. Okay, over on YouTube, Kanagawati, WMD, Taylor, Alidio, which very happy to have you here, Alidio, Taylor, JT, Orn, wonderful, glad that you're here. Austin, Jake, CC. It's nice that we have a lot of people here. There's a certain kind of energy that we get, inspiration, when we all gather together and kind of focus our minds together. Nice to see you, Kathleen. Look very comfortable. That's great. All right. Now, does anyone have any really important or really vital questions about what we're going to be doing tonight in this event. It might not be nighttime where you are, but if anyone has any really important question to ask before we get started, you can go ahead and ask that. Just if you need clarification about what we're going to be doing, so that you feel kind of invited and comfortable to stay here. Sometimes we don't understand something, we feel confused about what's going on, and then we go to a different place, right? We get away from where we are because we don't understand. So if anyone has that situation, please feel to ask a question. I'll try to share what we're doing. Yeah, the book we're going to be looking at today is called Zen Under the Gun. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So everyone, please go ahead and take a moment to find a really comfortable and stable position for your body. So adjust your posture and get comfortable and get into a stable position. Doesn't need to be a yoga position, doesn't need to be anything particularly special. But we'll start this practice and this event together by taking a few moments to come home to our body, come home to our breathing, and just let all of that that motion, that energy that we get involved with in our daily lives to kind of settle and be here in the present. Okay? So we firstly find that comfortable, stable position for the body. And then, if we like, we can close our eyes, if it feels comfortable to close our eyes. And we can start to take a few deep breaths. And I like to say it's like we're breathing in a rich way. We're breathing in a way that's quite pleasant and enjoyable, and we feel the richness of the oxygen that's flowing into our lungs. So breathe in as deeply as you need to and feel your mind, feel your life, your presence come home to the body. Breathe in deeply and become aware of the whole body sitting here at this present moment. Breathing in, becoming aware of the whole body. And breathing out, we can just relax and release and really settle to be here in the present moment. Not so much movement, not so much going to the next thing or coming from anything, but breathing as deeply as we need to and enjoying this allowance that we're giving ourselves to fully settle into the present moment, to fully relax into our body in a aware way. So in a kind of bright and attentive way. Breathe as deeply as you need to, but also allow your breath to find a natural, stable rhythm. Allow your breath to flow in and flow out. Breathing in, aware. Breathing out, relax. Becoming more aware of the body sitting here and what the experience of that is like. The experience of the body in the present moment. And we bring a sense of curiosity and kind of interest into that present moment bodily experience. And we breathe in such a way that gives attention to whatever's coming up in the body, but also relaxes and releases. So we're not getting stuck or fixated on any particular sensation or pain or pleasurable or ankle or elbow, shoulder, but we're in this state of noticing. And our tool of being and staying in this state of noticing is our sincere breathing, our rich, enjoyable breathing. So as we hear the sound of the bell, we'll take a few moments, a few breaths together to really enjoy our breathing, to enjoy our body, and just give ourselves this full allowance, this full permission to just let go and be here, to just sit, breathe, and be aware. And let's invite the sound of the bell to support that practice. All of the spiritual teachings, all of the greatest situations that we can come across are worthless unless we can truly face this present moment, unless we can truly touch and connect with and open our heart to what's happening right now. The most beautiful vista, the best friend, the best teacher, the greatest enlightened guru, the perfect text and teaching doesn't matter, is irrelevant unless we can really touch and face the heart at this present moment. To just sit, breathe, and offer our full attention, our full presence to what's happening right here and right now. This is a time to give up all of our control. This is a time to give up all of our effort, all of our understanding, all of our ability. So, then what? Just sitting, just breathing, just being aware of exactly what's happening right now, especially the breath in the body. And we breathe in this way of offering love and attention to ourselves. That's the kind of breath that we offer to the body. We breathe in love. We breathe in gentleness. We breathe in letting go. None of those distractions, none of those complicated ideas are worth our attention. We notice, we are aware, we are inspired by, we are encouraged by, oh, this thought, oh, this distraction, oh, this idea about meditation. Oh, I like this kind of experience. I don't like that kind of experience. No, it's not important. We are aware and we come home to the present moment breathing. Breathe richly, breathe wholeheartedly. Allow the mind to come home to the body and allow the body to relax. And breathe as deeply as you need to. You don't need to be shy about bringing oxygen into your body. You don't need to be shy about bringing wholehearted attention into your body at the present moment. We show up here not because it tastes like candy or because we think we're going to win money. We show up here to be here. And so breathe as deeply as you need to in a way that grounds you and establishes you in the present moment, in your awareness, in your wholehearted gentleness of just sitting, breathing, and being aware. With meditation, we are always coming back to the basics. The distraction, the interruption, the awareness that this isn't what I want or I want something else. That is exactly the heart of the practice, the meat, vegan meat of the practice. Because we notice, we become aware of a intellectual mind. We become aware of a judgmental mind. We become aware of a grasping mind. And then we release, refresh, restart. We begin again in the same way that death will greet us. We begin again wholeheartedly. We don't need to be confused by it in the same way that death isn't going to be confused by it. There's not going to be secondary thinking. There's not going to be a debate. There's not going to be a discussion. There's not going to be a higher or lower position. We're going to come home to awareness itself, to seeing itself, to hearing itself, to breathing itself, to the body feeling, experiencing itself. And this is the heart of our practice. So forget your perfect meditation. Forget your special experience. Forget your concentration, your relaxation. This method, this practice of just allowing the body to sit here, breathing, and the breathing in this way is a kind of nourishing, a kind of loving kindness, a kind of generosity we're giving to ourselves, right? We're loving ourselves. We're showing this kind of wholehearted empowerment to breathe and nourish this body, give this body and mind everything that it needs right now. So we just sit and offer ourselves this breathing, and we are aware. And we don't judge, struggle, get stuck in anything that we are aware of, because we're too busy coming back to this offering, this love, this gentleness that we give ourselves with this wholehearted breathing. Just as a mother holds and tends to her precious child, or any being tends to the precious child who's crying, who's suffering, we breathe in such a way to offer that care and that love and that gentleness, that compassion and that presence. It's not fluffy. Maybe it feels that way sometimes, but it's quite empowered. It's quite in depth. It's a matured way of giving ourselves everything that we need right now. That's simply with our breathing. So we'll invite another sound of the bell, and as you hear the sound of this bell, please feel that kind of luminescent, that bright invitation to come home to your breathing and come home to your present moment awareness. When we practice meditation, the practice itself is a kind of stretching, it's a kind of yoga. So we often get stuck in like, I need to stay still, I need to stay in this one position, I need to hold my mind in this one particular way. And because of that, we can't really practice very deeply because we're holding ourselves, we're kind of clenching as the practice of meditation. So when we practice like this, it's very important that you are willing to stretch, to move your body a little bit, to change the way that you're breathing a little bit, to lay down, to stand up, because it's this way of showing up to your body, to your mind, to the truth. And that principal way of doing it, that awareness of your breathing as it's happening right here and right now, that's your tool that you can rely on, that you can make use of as you're moving your body, as you're stretching. Okay, as these difficulties are coming up, as these life situations are coming up, mental situations, physical situations are coming up. Sure, you do move, you do stretch, but you stay with your meditation method as you do that. And it's like a tool, it's a gift that you're offering yourself. That attention, that present moment breathing, that meditation method, that you can make use of that in the midst of difficult situations and adversity, so that you can make use of this kind of condition, these kinds of conditions. You have to forget the perfect offering. You have to forget the perfect meditation, and you understand the principle of what we're doing here. And that principle is coming home to the present moment and following the breath and offering this attention to ourselves in a way where we are anchored into the present moment, and we are anchored into no view, right? Because we're breathing, we're not establishing ourselves on views and opinions or ideas or beliefs. We're just breathing and being aware in the present moment. Okay, so does anyone have any questions so far? Questions or want to share about their experience? And in the midst of this kind of practice and the different uh, experiences that we might have, or the different flavors that this experience might take, we we stay in that meditative way of being. So we stay with the breathing, we stay with our awareness of the body, we stay in that space. Any questions? Good. So we have a question here from Xor, and they said, is there a way to stay in that space while undertaking high level thinking activities, such as certain work tasks? Um, sure. And that's to not fixate on things outside of the present moment. So we come back to our breathing in the midst of high-level thinking. We come back into our breathing in the midst of labor, physical labor. We refresh and restart. But primarily, you practicing in a consistent way to be mindful, to have a relationship with the present moment, to have a relationship with your breathing. That's what's going to enable you to bring it into less ideal conditions. Because right now, this is a certain kind of ideal, auspicious condition where we have a group of people gathering to practice together. Okay, we have a facilitator, we can see people, we can hear people. We are inspired and kind of encouraged. We're in a container of practice. So we make use of those kinds of situations, but most of the time we won't be in a situation like that. So we have to remember the meditation method and make that to be a tool that we're using regularly in our life. And then we'll develop a relationship with, oh, I can come back to my breathing. I don't need to, just run around chasing the tail of my own conceptual thinking. It's not necessary. I don't need to just rely on my conceptual thinking. I can rely on my breathing. And the breathing is just like a pinpoint or a sign of present moment awareness. Awareness here in the present moment. So another question on YouTube from Elidio, I believe, and they ask if meditation is particularly intense during a period of time, how to gauge when to keep going and when to take a step back and practice gentleness. We're here to practice gentleness. This is what we're here to do. There's enough intensity. And the intensity that we feel, or the energy of intensity that kind of comes up when we practice meditation, we give it right to gentleness. We give it right to kindness. We give it right to forgiveness and stepping back. Be a spectator, be a witness. Let go and relax, and don't be too serious. We can sing songs. We can do a lot of different things in our lives. We don't have to lock ourselves into one particular way of being, but really what we're here together to do is practice a kind of contemplative gentleness, right? An open-hearted but aware and kind of powerful gentleness, flexibility. We can be prepared to take the backward step. We can see our meditation is taking the backward step from our complicated thinking, from our judgments, from this intensity, this struggle. I need to do something. I need to do this particular thing. Well, we don't need to do anything. We need to rest. We need to offer loving kindness and friendliness to ourselves and be more and more gentle, more and more sweet. Austin shared is over in the YouTube chat. Austin said, so when I find myself thinking compulsively, I can note that I have deviated and come back to focusing on my breathing. Exactly. It doesn't matter that we were thinking compulsively. It doesn't matter that we've burned down the barn. Well, that's okay. That's what happens. Barns burn down. Okay, we think compulsively. We get into weird, intense situations. So what's the answer to that? Well, it's to rest, and it's to remember our breathing, and it's to kind of remember this simple, open-hearted, present moment that we can connect with and we can nourish ourselves with. And every time that, self-fixated, complicated mind comes up, well, what do? We step back with a lot of gentleness, a lot of sweetness, a lot of softness, and we just come back to our breathing. But we don't force it. We use the breathing as just like this axis this axis point, the axle, on the where the wheels of our gentleness and our kind of skillful kindness and management run. Right. So it's not that you become a monk or I need to study Buddhism. I need to meditate all the time. It's nothing like that. It's just that you have this anchor point into the present moment to not only, be peaceful or be in the present, open awareness, but also to face and to be with the sufferings that we will feel. Sometimes they're intellectual, but that usually relates to things in the body, and we can kind of breathe and be with that in a more present way. Even if we are distracting ourselves, even if we are drinking or watching movies or playing video games or listening to music nonstop, still we can incorporate that breathing. We can come home. And so then, even though we get far away from that balance point, from that place of stability, we have a relationship with that simplicity and that stability. Okay. And over time, we're more able to make use of that because we know about it. We have a relationship with it, just like we know about someone or something. And then we develop a faith in it, right? We start to believe. We have a trust in mindfulness. We have a trust in the present moment. We have a trust in gentleness. Okay. And we have a doubt about the efficacy or the constant fixation and the importance that we give to our complicated thinking, to our self-fixated identities. We have a doubt about that. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Right? Maybe this was a very bad thing. Maybe it wasn't. Actually, well, that's not so important if it was or if it wasn't. What's important is how I take care of myself right now, how I rest right now, how I communicate my needs right now, and let all that other stuff just kind of, relax and fall away because it's not so important. We don't need to be stuck to that. Okay? We don't need to cling to that complicated thinking because there is a present moment. And it's something we can enjoy and we can have a relationship with in the midst of our suffering, in the midst of our difficulty, because it's not about getting to this perfect position. It's about in the midst of the pain and the hurt and the confusion and the worry that we can remember that there is freedom inside of ourselves. There is freedom here and now. And that we're not alone in doing that, that there are communities that are built around this practice, and there are people who are very experienced with this, that have deep teachings and deep perspectives that we can make use of. So that's what being a Buddhist is about. It's not really so much about believing or becoming a religious person, more about what we take refuge in, what we put on this kind of what we put on our table to make use of. And we say, okay, sure, I like to watch movies. I like to have a, kind of relationship with a particular person that's not the most ideal relationship or not the most healthy thing for me. But that's not really what I take refuge in. I take refuge in the meditation, right? The present moment awareness. I take refuge in the deep, skillful teachings that free me from self-affliction and attachment and worry and suffering. And I take refuge in the community of people who are involved with that, right? So, I mean, that's kind of what being a Buddhist is. That's why I'm a monk, not because I'm enlightened, but because I need help, I need support, and I take refuge in the meditation. The Buddha represents like the attainment of meditation, the full power meditation, so to speak, and the Dharma, that's the teachings, skillful teachings, and the Sangha, that's the community. That's what we try to offer here as well. Give those kind of foundations to be available. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the book that I wanted to share with everyone today, which is called Zen Under the Gun. And it goes along with this idea of the title, at least on YouTube, um, of Zen and adversity, finding freedom in the midst of difficulty and confusion. So, just kind of read a few of these excerpts from the great Zen masters of old, and uh, it's quite an easy to understand principle when it comes to these Zen masters or spiritual teachers that we will read from. It's kind of an understandable premise about not that these are like saints or that these people are above us or that they're, holier than thou or something like that. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But it's this really simple understanding of how far we can go in something, in becoming skillful at something. And that some people are just naturally predisposed to becoming very skillful at something. So, like, we can compare, I can compare myself with a bodybuilder, right? With physical strength or a power lifter or something like that. And so, the difference between me versus someone like that, or where I would be if I spent 5 years, intensively going to the gym and taking, steroids and all this kind of stuff. Wow, I would be so strong. I would be so much stronger than where I am now. And then also you have people with like physical skills. So LeBron James or Michael Jordan, people like this, right? Yeah, we have a similar type of body. We have a similar type of situation, but their skill level, their development is like uncomprehendable how developed that is. And so um, it's the same situation with the mind, but even more so, right? So when it comes to the development of peace, the development of wisdom, of compassion, of loving kindness, of freedom from suffering, there are these Michael Jordans of freedom from suffering. There are these LeBron James of freedom from suffering, whoever it might be, great intellectual or whatever it might be. And so that's what these kind of teachers are representing, and they're sharing their experience from that experience, so that it can inspire us and support us to go further along the path if we wish to do so. Because for anyone, it's really a matter of understanding that you can go very far in this if that's what you want to do. Just the same way, like I was saying about bodybuilding or physical strength or something like that, or anyone here with endurance running or losing weight or anything, whatever it would be, right? It's very possible to go way beyond what you currently know and where you're currently at. It's completely possible. It's just a matter of us nourishing our strong intentions to do that and walking along that path, right? And that's difficult. I'm on that journey, and people here are on that journey as well, right? We want to be happy, we want to be free from suffering, but it's going to take work. And I would just share that from my end, this is the greatest aspiration that we can have, to truly be free from suffering, regardless of physical conditions, regardless of mental conditions, to truly be free from suffering, to truly be at peace, to truly be happy. Okay? So, this is a short few words on this concept of fundamental mind. And this is from a Zen master, Huang Shon. We should just know where our own minds are born. If we know where mind is born, then we will know where mind functions 24 hours a day. If we know where it functions 24 hours a day, then we know where it has functioned for countless ages. This is why all the Buddhas, meaning all the enlightened ones, came forth. They wanted to awaken us to our fundamental mind. This they considered the ultimate. If you can be like this, then all at once you pay back in full the benevolence of the enlightened teachers of the past. You don't have to do anything else. If you do other things, these things belong to the plane of contrived action. How could they be enough to repay uncontrived benevolence? The rock of ages will wear through some day, but the Lord's benevolence is inexhaustible. Okay, so this concept of uncontrived benevolence is there's a note here. The benevolence of the Buddhas and enlightened teachers is communicating the teaching of enlightenment, which is a spontaneous outflow of their enlightened wisdom, not a calculated effort to do good or to win merit, to get something by helping others. So, they bring up in here this notion about kind of paying back, right? Because when we get something, it's just like for our parents, right? Our parents gave birth to us, our parents helped to protect us, our parents helped to feed us and help to raise us and support us in our lives, right? So in some sense, we owe a lot to them. We owe our lives to them, literally. And in the same way, with these, if you meet a Buddha, you meet an enlightened teacher, someone who frees you from your suffering, there's definitely going to be a feeling of well, how do I pay this back? How do I pay the due? Everything that I've gotten from this. So you might think, well, I've got to make some donations. I've got to write a letter. I've got to find a way to support this person, or, I've got to build temples. I've got to all this. But here it's saying, if you can just know where your own mind is born, you pay back in full. You pay all your debt. You resolve all of these debts that you have, right? Because we don't live alone. It's just like we have all of these debts to all of the conditions, all of the people, the Mother Earth, all these environments that have supported us so deeply. It's like we have a debt to pay. So if you can just know where your mind is born, you can see your fundamental mind, your true mind, the original face. And it's not something that we need to kind of hypothesize about, because this is where our mind is born, right? This is where our fundamental mind is born, in the present moment. It's just like where is the most essential breath? Well, hold your breath and you'll find out very quickly where the most essential breath is, right? It's here and now. But where is the mind born? The mind is born here and now. So it's not necessary for us to fixate on the past, or fixate on the future, or fixate, what we're doing wrong, or fixate on our ideal experience, right? We want to be this better version of ourselves, or whatever. If we can just know where our mind is born, then we can pay back all the debt. We can step into this space of freedom and peace and healing. So, in that sense, it's not about these other things. It's not about these contrived actions, right? It's not about trying to calculate and make a deal with ourselves or with the world, or, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to let go of this, and then I'm going to get that. None of this is really going to work out, because it's calculated, it's contrived, and it's stuck on all these other minds. This wrong view about the fundamental mind that arises here in the present moment. It's stuck on these false minds, these false faces of a future person, a future place, a past person, a past place. person who likes this, a person who doesn't like that. But we can know this fundamental mind, where it arises here and now. Where does the mind arise? Where is the mind born? And then we can let go of a lot of our worry, our fear, our self-judgment, because freedom is available to us in the present moment. Okay, so we'll go to another excerpt here. We have a question that did come in from Donald, and Donald says, "I find myself being very attached to distractions lately. How can I become more comfortable with the true here and now?" You can go for a walk, and you can meet the here and now in walking and breathing and seeing and hearing. But we also have to understand that our distractions are not separate from our fundamental mind. We can still know where the fundamental mind is. We can still know where the mind is born in the midst of distractions, in the midst of adversity, right? So the rock of ages, the most the biggest distraction, the longest movie, the biggest worry, the strongest fear, the strongest anger, whatever it is, it's going to wear through. 100%. That rock, that stuckness, that tension, that anxiety is going to wear through one way or another. But this fundamental mind and this freedom that comes with recognizing that, how they said it here was the Lord's uncontrived benevolence, that is inexhaustible. And so we make use of it in it as often as we can, in the midst of distractions, in the midst of whatever we find ourselves to be suffering with. We can just breathe and come home. If you're distracting yourself, so what? Breathe and come home. Love yourself. Be kind, be gentle, be understanding to yourself in the present moment. It's just like when we practice meditation, we don't need to be shy about taking as deep a breath as we need to. We don't need to be shy about, stretching or laying down or standing up or, giving ourselves a massage or something. You breathe as deeply as you need to. You offer as much love and care and attention to yourself as you need to in that present moment. And sometimes that means that there's a lot of distractions going on, or we're indulging our senses a lot. That's completely okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't be calculating. Just remember your fundamental mind, and that will lead you right along the right way. Okay. So this is a reading from Zen Master Gu Lin, and it's entitled Fishing for Enlightenment. Fishing for Enlightenment. Gu Lin said, "In our world, the sentient beings," so this is like living, kind of self-aware beings, "in our world, the sentient beings have three kinds of suffering, namely craving, anger, and ignorance. They cast off bodies and take on bodies, appearing here and disappearing there, falsely accepting the sensory experience they cling to and all sorts of afflictions." So, mainly not recognizing the impermanence, the unsatisfactoriness, the changing nature, the no true self in any of these experiences. Okay, so we cast off this body that's having a pleasurable experience, we take on another body having it painful experience. And all along the way, we're self-identifying with all of these self-experiences that are coming up, okay, and passing away. We're clinging to all sorts of afflictions. We are self-identifying with all sorts of afflictions. The Buddhas, the enlightened ones of past, present, and future, are compassionate and happy to give forth their ultimate skillful means. They leave the Tushita heaven, so let's say they leave their, blissful, wonderful heaven of joy and peace and freedom, these enlightened beings, and they come down to be born on earth and manifest excellent qualities amid the sensory afflictions here. Zen Master Yunmen said, when there are no sticking points in what meets the eye, then you reach the point where named and categorized things and all phenomena are empty. When there are no sticking points in what meets the eye, then you reach the point where named and categorized things and all phenomena are empty. Okay, what are they empty of? They're empty of any kind of being permanent. They're empty of any kind of true self, separate self entity, and they're empty of anything satisfactory. They are not satisfactory. So, we don't hang on to things that aren't satisfactory. We don't hang on to things that, aren't ours. We don't own. We don't hang on to things that are temporary, just like we don't hang on to water. Couldn't. So Zen Master Yunmen said, when there are no sticking points in what meets the eye, when you don't get stuck on anything that you make contact with, physical or mental, then you reach the point where named and categorized things and all phenomena, all happenings, all situations, all beings, objects, are empty. Mountains, rivers, the great earth, these are names. When names cannot be found, this is called samadhi. Okay, this is called meditative absorption, real meditation. When names cannot be found, when nothing can be grasped onto, when no objects are there to get stuck on. The ocean of reality is fully equipped with everything, but this is still a wave swirling around without a wind. Just forget your supposed knowledge in awakening. Awakening is Buddha nature. When you awaken, you are called an unconcerned person. But you still must come to know the one transcendent opening. How is it at just such a time? When you're at home, you say it will be easy. But when you're out there with the fishing pole, you finally realize that catching fish is hard. Okay? So this practice of touching the present moment, finding the present moment, connecting with the truth, when you're at home, you say it's easy. Okay, sure, yeah. Coming back to my breathing. I'm here in the present moment. What a joy. This is really simple. This is really easy. When you're at home, you say it will be easy. But when you're out there with the fishing pole, you finally realize that catching fish is hard, that it is difficult. That's why we practice. That's why we take refuge. That's why we have a relationship with a community of meditators. That's why we practice meditation regularly. That's why we have a relationship. We make use of deep teachings, skillful teachings that are practical, that we can make use of. So you still must come to know the one transcendent opening. The one moment, the one opening here and now to make use of, to wake up from. You have to come to know it. Okay, so we'll do one more verse here. Zen Master Diane said, this is entitled Temples of Perfect Enlightenment. Zen Master Diane said, if you want to be in harmony right now with the fundamental ground, you simply must abandon all that has gone before. Don't impose conditioned knowing and understanding. Set an eye on before the Buddha was born and take a look. What is it? Suddenly you hit against the void and smash through it. Then you see that all the worlds in the 10 directions are all temples of perfect enlightenment. Where else are the mountains, rivers, and the great earth? Zen Master Diane said, if you want to be in harmony right now with the fundamental ground, you simply must abandon all that has gone before. Do not impose conditioned knowing and understanding. Set an eye on before the Buddha was born and take a look. What is it? Suddenly you hit against the void and smash through it. Then you see that all the worlds in the 10 directions are all temples of perfect enlightenment. Where else are the mountains, rivers, and the great earth? So, do not impose your conditioned understanding or knowing. We have to learn to be comfortable with not knowing, not understanding. You don't know what's going to happen with 5 minutes from now. You don't know what was happening 5 minutes ago. You don't know how the brain that is happening right now is going on. So we need to develop a relationship with not knowing, not imposing our conceptual understanding, our intellectual understanding. And rather, it's kind of to ask this question, where else is the great mountains, the great rivers, the great sky, right? I'm sure some people here have seen just a beautiful vista, amazing vista, right? Of mountains and rivers and clouds and forests, just uncomprehendable. Where else could it be? It's here and now. It's in your breath. It's in your eyes. It's in your ears. It's in your nose. It's in your body. It's in the tension. It's in the pain. It's in the confusion. It's in the knowing. It's in the not knowing. And it is beautiful. It is really wonderful. It is really precious that all the worlds in the 10 directions are all temples of perfect enlightenment. All phenomena, all distractions, all sensations in the body, all thoughts, temples of perfect enlightenment. It's just a matter of opening ourselves up to see them in this way of the fundamental mind. The mind of present moment, breathing and being aware. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw away whatever you've learned or whatever you've grasped at. You can put that away, throw that away, and we'll take a few moments to sit together and enjoy our present moment breathing for a few moments before we end our session. Okay. Please take a moment to find a comfortable, stable meditation position, whatever that might be for you. With these kind of Zen teachings, it's meant to inspire and encourage us to be here now, and that's a practice. It's not a belief. It's not an idea. So you're the most enlightened person in the whole wide world. You get all this stuff 100%. You're super enlightened. You're super incredible meditation, what have you. Well, it's time to clean the toilet. It's time to stub your toe. It's time to get sick. It's time to go through old age. It's time to have your mother be upset with you, whatever it might be. That's these perfect temples of enlightenment in all the 10 directions. Okay, so let's sit together, and our meditation method, our way of practicing together, is we're just going to sit and focus on our breathing, relax the body, breathe as deeply as you need to, and be here in the present moment together. Okay, so let's invite the sound of the bell and practice just sitting, just breathing, and just being aware together. Okay, dear friends on the path. So we're going to finish this practice together with a little bit of a song. So I hope that you will sing along with me, and that this song will bring you some happiness and joy and a nice way to finish our session together. So hopefully you should be able to see the lyrics on my screen. That's the idea. So I'm going for here. Hopefully it's not too small. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that should be pretty big, right? So, this is a happiness song, and sometimes we can get very serious and kind of intense with these kinds of practices and these kinds of teachings. But actually, these teachings are here to loosen us up, to open our heart, and to inspire us. And it's almost a certain kind of meditation instruction, actually, these kinds of Zen teachings. But I think we'll finish up our event today with this song together. So the way that we'll do this, hopefully you can see the lyrics clearly. The first time I will sing, and if you do know how to sing the song, you can sing along with me. But then we'll sing it a second time, and we'll sing it a second time, and then you can join along because you'll hear how it goes during the first time. Okay? And if you're here in Discord, you can try to unmute your microphone as well if you know how to sing it. And we'll just see how the harmony goes. All right, we can take a deep breath in. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do. But I don't need to hurry. Okay, everybody now. Deep breath in. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do. But I don't need to hurry. Okay, with the sound of the bell, we can all take a bow to each other and to our practice together. Well, thank you all so much for being here. This was a real treat. This was a real joy for me, very nourishing and lovely. And I couldn't do it without all of you, right? I am me because you are you, and vice versa. Something like that. So I do thank everyone. And please do feel invited and encouraged to see this space, this online space, as a real space, as an alive space to make use of, to get support, to reach out, and to kind of continue our practice together. Okay, in a simple, gentle, holistic way. We don't need to get too intense about anything. This is a way that we practice and enjoy our life together and support one another on the path. Okay? Thank you all for being here. Goodbye. See you soon. Okay. YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe to your mindfulness and to your happiness and to your gentleness. Okay? I should put share in there as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your mindfulness, your happiness, your gentleness.